Well, welcome back, everyone. Well, as you know, man, on a weekly basis, we get a lot of requests for interviews. We hear about a lot of organizations and a lot of people in the community involved in a lot of different activities. Well, one came across my desk that we delved into a bit, and lo and behold, very interesting organization. And we invited him on so we could tell you about the marathons, the half marathons that are coming up. So joining me today is Jose Garcia, who's the founder of Strong to Serve. And I'll explain that in a second, but first, welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
Oh, it's really great. Now, Jose and I had a terrific conversation before we went on air. I'm going to start with Strong to Serve, okay?
Sure.
Tell me a bit about the organization.
Strong to Serve is a non-for-profit. We are incorporated out of New York. We're a 503c company, and what we do is, our goal is to leverage the passion that people have for sports to raise funds for orphans. And we focus specifically on the orphans in the third world. So we want to make an impact in countries like Nicaragua, the Philippines, China. Those are places that we've been to. And we use the money that we collect throughout our events to help meet their nutritional needs, their clothing, shelter,
housing, education,
medical needs.
Yeah, sure.
We work with anywhere children between the ages of 0 to 18 years old. We also work with children who have mental and physical disabilities. And yeah, so we've been around for 5 years, and we work a lot with the community here in Saratoga County.
Well, you know, Jose, I'm sure that the more you discover about their needs, the more you realize you could do as well. I want to give you a quick sidebar in this. I was asking Jose about his background, and you grew up in Nicaragua.
I did.
In the 80s, and for anybody who was around at that time, you realize that that was an incredibly difficult time to grow up in Nicaragua. You had the Sandinistas, there was military coups going on, there were, interesting, let's put quotes around that.
Civil war,
in terms of civil
scarcity,
war,
economic distress, also all those things, yes.
And you considered yourself fortunate because you had a strong family structure.
Absolutely.
Right, and then you started to think about the fact that if you had that family structure and you were able to make something of your life, you wanted to give back.
Absolutely.
Well, that's
yes.
really something. We have a couple of events that are coming up that Strong to Serve are a part of. One's coming up Sunday, April 26th. That's Sunday.
This Sunday, yes.
In Lake George. It's called the Lake George Half Marathon. And then there's another event in July, and we're going to have Jose back again before this event, and that's a Strong to Serve half marathon that's taking place in Saratoga.
That's our signature event in the area, yes.
Right now, a signature event, the first year was the first year, you had 600 runners.
600 runners, we had about 50 volunteers. It was our first time working with the town of Saratoga Springs, the Department of Transportation, New York State Department of Transportation, the Park Authority, the Spa Park. It was amazing to see the community come around for this event, and we were able to raise $20,000 for orphans.
Well, I think that's
last year.
You know, I knew Joanne Yepsen was involved
yes,
in the race because she spoke to me about it.
Very good. She just very supportive from the get-go. I think basically she made it happen.
Yes. Now, you live in the area, you live in Mechanicville.
I do.
And you work in the area. Tell me just something about this passion for running.
So I started running back in 2008. So a friend of mine invited me to run the Boston half marathon. And that was my first half marathon, and so I got hooked on it, right? So I went on that first year to finish 12 other races, half marathons, right? And so that's how I basically started running and I got into the whole racing events and
in one of those races,
the last,
as you were telling me,
that's right,
a little light went on.
So the last race, the last half marathon that year, I had a goal. I was going to do 12. I'm halfway through that race. And the thought comes to my mind, it's like, why are you doing this? And I knew I was doing it for myself. I wanted to be fit. I wanted to, be competitive, improve my time. But then it dawned on me that I needed to do it for something bigger than myself. And at that point, I was like, whoa, I really need to do something with this that's going to improve the world. And I, before that, I kind of had an interest in the plight of orphans, and the idea of orphans in the third world was something that really gripped me, and so that's kind of the beginning of Strong to Serve, how to leverage people's passion for sports and turn that into a tangible help for orphans.
That's really well said. And there are not many organizations that we come across that are devoted to helping orphans. And realize that orphans in the third world have a special need. And from your own experience, you know firsthand what this is like from growing up in Nicaragua. Well, Jose, thank you very much for coming in. I want to give our viewers that information again. This Sunday, April 26th, the Lake George Half Marathon is the first event, but then the signature event in July, which I think you said was July 12th?
July 12th, yes.
Here in Saratoga at the Spa Park is the Strong to Serve Half Marathon. And like I said, we'll have you back again.
Sure, and I just want to highlight too that these are annual events.
Yes.
So every year on the 4th week of April and every year in the 2nd week of July is when we have these events. So if you don't get a chance to come out and run this year, always next year there's always an opportunity.
Our job is to get them out this year, and we'll get them out.
Very good.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, you're quite welcome. To see this interview again, head to our website, looktvonline.com.